During the Great Demonic War, everyone who wielded a sword met their end. It was a conflict no one could have foreseen, dragging on for 13 years, a relentless hell marked by tears, wails, and rivers of blood. Yet one day, the war abruptly ceased with an unexpected truce. Even 2 decades later, the details of that truce remain shrouded in mystery, as both the heavenly demon cult and the Orthodox alliance chose silence. Over time, Jianghu began to change. New powers emerged, but many sects weakened under the weight of the war's devastation. Among those striving to rebuild was Zhang Cherian, the second daughter of the sect leader of the Righteous Sword sect. She trained tirelessly, her frustration growing as she struggled to break through the 7-star realm. In her mind, she resolved to master the Scarlet Trace sword technique, a martial art passed down through her sect's history, to restore their former glory. Despite her efforts, her skills remained stagnant, leaving her puzzled and dissatisfied. One day, her training was interrupted by the arrival of her elder sister, Zhang Werian, and Werian's husband, Xiao Beck. Cherian questioned their sudden appearance, sensing urgency. Werian revealed that someone from the Palm Essence Union had arrived, young Master Zhang. His intent was clear. He wanted to partner with Cherian for the Dragon and Phoenix tournament. Cherian was stunned. This tournament, alongside the legendary Heavenly Dragon tournament, was among the grandest martial arts events in the Central Plain. While the Heavenly Dragon tournament tested sect's honor and warriors' lives, the Dragon and Phoenix tournament celebrated young, rising talents, allowing participants to compete in pairs. This year, both tournaments were set to take place in Wuhan, Hubei. The prospect of such a challenge and its implications for her sect left Cherian torn between hesitation and determination. Cherian's thoughts swirled with frustration. The very idea of pairing up like children for the Dragon and Phoenix tournament was already irritating, but the prospect of partnering with someone as insufferable as Zhang Ingjiao made her blood boil. She couldn't help but vent aloud, questioning why she had to get involved with someone she despised so deeply. Werian, ever composed, tried to calm her younger sister, reminding her of her promise to bring honor to their sect. She explained that being selected for the tournament could elevate their sect's prestige, but defying the Palm Essence Union might provoke retaliation. Cherian, unimpressed, rejected the idea outright, suggesting with a sharp tongue that Werian should lie about her age and enter instead. Werian's disappointment was evident, though her husband, Xiao Beck, interjected with a wry comment, likening Cherian's temper to his wife's. Later, Cherian wandered through the bustling marketplace, still grappling with her dilemma. Merchants called out their wares, offering tea and goods at tempting prices, while whispers of recent events filled the air. She overheard talk of the Supreme Chief losing another finger, with some speculating it was punishment delivered by unseen forces. Amid the chaos, Cherian's thoughts turned darker. What if the Palm Essence Union decided to retaliate against their sect for her refusal? Could they truly act with impunity simply because of their power? Her musings were interrupted by the murmur of conflict nearby. 2 men argued heatedly, their accusations and threats a reflection of the deceit and selfishness that plagued Jianghu. She glanced at another pair conversing in hushed tones, plotting and scheming with no regard for honor. This world she had once admired felt tainted by dirty tricks and endless schemes. A sudden commotion broke out, a thief snatched a pouch, and a heated argument erupted between the victim and another bystander, each ready to draw their swords. Cherian watched the scene, a pang of disillusionment striking her. Was this truly the Jianghu she had longed to be a part of? The crowd's attention shifted as a figure emerged, commanding awe and respect. Murmurs spread rapidly. It was the leader of the Murim alliance. With a sword in his hand, he stood as a beacon of authority amidst the chaos. Cherian couldn't tear her eyes away, her thoughts momentarily silenced as she observed the man who represented the ideals she had once believed Jianghu embodied. The leader stood tall amidst the crowd, his sword planted firmly in the ground as a testament to a hard-won peace. His calm expression bore the weight of 13 years of relentless war, now finally over. Around him, the crowd erupted into cheers and tears, their collective relief palpable. Cries of, "Long live the leader!" echoed, while some wept openly, their arms raised in celebration. Among them, a woman knelt, bowing low in gratitude as those nearby shouted, "Wah!" in unison, overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of the moment. Peace had finally returned, but its cost lingered in the air. The kneeling woman's voice broke through the clamor. She lamented how the dream of unifying the demonic cult had ended so fruitlessly, her words heavy with sorrow. Nearby, Cherian observed the scene with skepticism. This reenactment of history, while dramatic, failed to satisfy her curiosity. Though she knew it was only a play, she couldn't help but reflect on the mystery surrounding the great Orthodox demonic war's conclusion. No one truly knew how it had ended, and the truth seemed forever lost. As these thoughts churned in her mind, a man stepped forward from the crowd, his voice cutting through the noise as he agreed with her silent doubts. Cherian turned to him, her curiosity piqued. The stranger elaborated, recounting how the heavenly demon's 9 calamities technique, also known as the invincible demonic art, made its wielder unbeatable in single combat. He dismissed the notion that the war could have ended in such a trivial fashion, hinting at a deeper, untold story. Cherian's suspicion grew as she studied the man. His demeanor was strange, his insights unsettling, and his sudden appearance even more so. Her mind raced with questions, but before she could respond, the man abruptly changed the subject. Declaring himself thirsty, he casually suggested they grab a drink together and asked her to show him the way, claiming it was his first time in Wuhan. Cherian stared at him, torn between annoyance and intrigue, wondering who this enigmatic figure truly was and what he sought in a city buzzing with secrets and schemes. Cherian's thoughts were awash with suspicion as she scrutinized the man before her. His innocent face felt like a carefully crafted mask, concealing something she couldn't quite grasp. What game was he playing? Her sharp tone cut through her skepticism as she dismissed him, chastising him for behaving like a worthless bum despite being a martial artist. Without waiting for a response, she stated she had other matters to attend to and turned to leave. The man's voice stopped her in her tracks. He questioned the very fabric of Jianghu, suggesting that ideals and chivalry had long been abandoned, leaving only a hollow facade in their place. His words dripped with disdain, and he didn't hesitate to call it pathetic. Cherian bristled, her irritation growing, but she reminded herself not to lose her composure. Calmly, she countered, asserting that while Jianghu had its flaws, it didn't deserve such disrespect. Despite his provocative words, she walked away, determined not to let him rattle her further. As Cherian made her way through the bustling streets of Wuhan, her mind lingered briefly on the strange encounter. Meanwhile, the man stood watching her retreat, his expression unreadable. Around him, the streets were alive with activity. Merchants peddled wares, a crowd gathered to discuss upcoming tournaments, and others marveled at rare items like a sword ornament made of nightlight stone. The excitement was palpable, with people chattering about the Heavenly Dragon tournament and front-row seats selling for just 10 yang. Cherian soon arrived at Huayang Inn, a lively establishment filled with the clatter of dishes and the buzz of animated conversations. Wooden tables were packed with patrons enjoying their meals, their voices blending into a vibrant symphony of sound. Servers weaved through the crowd with practiced efficiency, one carrying a large ceramic bottle, their footsteps echoing against the wooden floor. Sunlight filtered through intricately carved windows, casting warm patterns across the traditional interior. As Cherian entered, her eyes scanned the room, taking in the energy and movement. A man seated at a central table turned his head abruptly as a server rushed past, nearly colliding with him. The lively, bustling atmosphere of the inn offered a stark contrast to the reflective tension that had accompanied her earlier conversation. Yet, even amidst the cheerful chaos, Cherian couldn't shake the nagging sense that the man she'd left behind wasn't someone to be easily dismissed. Four men sat at a corner table, their conversation buzzing with excitement about the upcoming Dragon and Phoenix tournament. One speculated that the event would be extraordinary this year, while another confidently declared young warrior M of the Northern Heaven's Supreme Family as the top contender. A third countered, pointing out that young warrior Yang of the Southern Peak Alliance was not to be underestimated either. The tavern hummed with similar conversations, the tournament clearly the talk of the town. As Cherian entered the bustling inn, she couldn't help but notice the unusually large crowd. The lively chatter and packed tables made her wonder if the influx was due to the tournament. Lost in thought, she was approached by a server who immediately recognized her as young Lady Zhang of the Righteous Sword sect. Startled by the sudden attention, she explained she was merely there for a light drink. The server, eager to accommodate, offered her a seat in the special room, mentioning that it was the only available space. He even added with a smile that she was known as Wuhan's best, and promised her a discount. As she followed the server, Cherian felt the weight of curious gazes from the other patrons. She wondered who could have spread such flattering yet baseless rumors, especially since she rarely visited inns alone. Her thoughts drifted to the strange encounters she had faced that day, from the Palm Essence Union's demands to the mysterious man she had met earlier. When the server led her into the special room, she was surprised to find that very man seated at a table laden with food. He greeted her with casual familiarity, remarking that if he had known they would meet again, he would have accompanied her from the start. Cherian's thoughts spiraled, questioning her uncanny string of luck. Reluctantly, she chose a seat opposite him, hoping to make the best of an awkward situation. The man, unfazed by her unease, dove straight into a conversation about the tournament. He asked her if she knew how to register as a participant, and inquired about the deadline. His casual tone contrasted sharply with the impressive feast spread before him, making Cherian wonder about his true intentions. As the energy of the inn carried on around them, she braced herself for yet another curious turn in her already eventful day. Cherian observed the man devouring his meal with an enthusiasm that made her wonder if he had been starving all day. When she asked if he was seriously considering participating in the tournament, he replied with unwavering confidence, claiming he absolutely was. He added, with a smug grin, that the tournament would attract many pretty girls, and he believed his charm would make him a favorite among them. Cherian couldn't hide her disbelief at his audacity, especially when he boasted about how women had chased after him everywhere since he began traveling at the age of 10. As he continued to eat noisily, Cherian couldn't help but notice how drastically his demeanor had shifted from their earlier encounter. His carefree attitude and exaggerated claims about his mother being the most beautiful woman in Jianghu left her both baffled and flustered. When she inadvertently questioned his statement, he immediately accused her of disrespecting his mother, forcing Cherian into an awkward defense of her intentions. The man then switched topics, casually mentioning his nervousness about an upcoming event. Assuming he was referring to the tournament, Cherian inquired, only for him to declare that winning the tournament was a foregone conclusion. What truly surprised her was his next claim, that he was aiming to conquer all of Hubei this year. Her thoughts raced in disbelief. Was he being boastful or simply delusional? As their conversation unfolded, another voice broke through the lively atmosphere of the tavern. Turning, Cherian saw Zhang Injial, the young master of the Palm Essence Union, approaching with his sister, Zhang Inhua. Injial greeted Cherian with a sly smile, making her bristle inwardly. She noted with irritation that his habit of scanning her with his eyes was as unpleasant as ever. Though she wanted nothing more than to hit him, she resolved to restrain herself. Injial's attention soon shifted to the man seated across from her. Noticing the ample food on the table, he sneered and suggested that, if they were done eating, they should leave the seat for others. The air grew tense as the two men sized each other up, their gazes heavy with unspoken rivalry.